A very good evening to you and welcome back to West Ham Unofficial. I hope you are all well. We're trialling a new series tonight, so let us know if you enjoy it. It's about getting West Ham fans on and talking about their story, their West Ham stories. If you're going to enjoy, hit the like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And I'm going to get my first guest on for this new series. So it's his West Ham story. So everybody, welcome to the show. Jordan, how are you, mate?
I'm very well, mate. How are you?
Yeah, not bad. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. Let's see what we've got in the chat. Fathead, Mark, Andy, thank you very much indeed for you all for joining us. Get involved in the live chat as we go through the show, so we'll be interactive and take your topic suggestions, thoughts and comments along the way as well. So Jordan, we'll start with your West Ham story at the very start. So how did you become a West Ham fan? How did you end up wearing that beloved crest on your top?
Oh, great. So my dad's from Bethnal Green originally. So obviously I was born and raised in Somerset like yourself, Jake. But my dad was from Bethnal Green, so we used to go West Ham home and away all the time in the 80s and the 70s. And he took me to my first game when I was about 9, I think. And we was in the Championship at the time. And I can still remember it. I think it was around December 2003. We were playing Wigan. We won 4-0, I believe. And we still had Michael Carrick playing. We had David James in goal. Brian Dean. You probably won't remember those players, Jake. They're before your time, mate. So yeah, that was my first game.
So basically, you were sold a lie when we won 4-0 and you thought it was always going to be like that.
I know. I thought this was buzzing. And it was the only time when I went to the bowling ground, it's the only time I managed to sit in the chicken run. So it was like the perfect game for me as well. I could never get in the chicken run after that. And then, yeah, we used to go a handful of times, me and my dad, about 6 or 7 times a season, travelling from Somerset like you do. And then back in 2017, I've been a season ticket holder ever since. So that's sort of like a brief overview of my West Ham story, really, and that's the connection we've got in our family. We're all on my dad's side anyway. They're all Cockneys.
Very good. So from your wide-ranging career and stint as a West Ham fan, can you pick out a favourite moment? And I'm going to ask you to ignore what happened in June. So apart from that, your favourite West Ham moment?
I would have to say, oh God, that's a good one.
What do you think of that? I'll say hello to some more people that are joining us. Have a think. Usual suspect. I hope you are well. See, Dad was at that game as well. 4-0 win. See, Dad can't.
They are rich.
See, he can't even remember what we did last weekend, but he knows that game 4-0 and he'll know who scored and he'll know who he was with, won't you, Dad? See, there we go.
That's a game. Favourite West Ham moment. I would probably say it's tough, but I'm gonna have to I forgot to pick one. It's got to be the playoff final, getting promoted back into the Premier League, because obviously seeing West Ham get relegated, under one of the worst seasons with Avram Grant, the club was in a dire place, and then to bounce back and win a big final, even though it doesn't really count as silverware, but just to see West Ham back in the Premier League after a very abysmal couple of seasons really was probably my favourite moment, outside of obviously what happened last year with the Conference League.
Yeah, no, I think it's actually, I was 5 at the time, so I can actually remember it. But I think, looking back, when people discuss their favourite moments, I think it's actually an underrated thing that most people just sort of gloss over, because, when you look back, if we wouldn't have been promoted that season, Vazte wouldn't have scored that goal and Blackpool would have went on to win, then we may not even be in the Premier League now,
Exactly.
And we quite possibly couldn't have had all these European adventures to go alongside it as well, because we would have been in the Championship for another season, and God knows, we might not have got out of the Championship. So I think that moment is pivotal for sure.
I think it was just the pure drama of the last minute winner, like you said with Vazte. Like normally West Ham, we're on the end of teams getting last minute winners against us. So to do it in a final and get back in the Prem, I would say, when that goal went in and I was at home, I sadly couldn't get a ticket for that game. My house erupted. So probably a moment I'll always remember, that one, playoff final.
Yeah, couple of people put in their favourite moments. Fathead says Yarmolenko against Sevilla takes a lot of beating of marks in agreement. Seville at home, I was unfortunate enough not to be there, but a lot of people, put that game in good stead and say how amazing that was, and just from the comfort of my own sofa, it looked amazing, that game. And I think just the European adventures a whole, and even just picking up one game is quite hard because of how brilliant the last 3 years have been in terms of European football.
Yeah, definitely. It's been unheard of, especially like, growing up as a West Ham fan, and we're used to floating around mid-table relegation fights to be seeing West Ham play twice a week. It's just about getting used to it now, to be fair.
Exactly. And we're just about getting used to it, and then we'll probably not have it next year, so it'll be done.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, we probably had our run, to be fair.
Yeah. Harewood scored twice on debut in that 4-0 victory that you were talking about.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, there was a red card, there was a penalty. Harewood scored, and I think Brian Dean scored one of the other. I can't remember who scored the other goal, but yeah, they were the two scorers that I can remember. And yeah, you can see a legend like Michael Carrick and David James play for West Ham. That's going back 20 years. That's mental, really, thinking about it.
It is. Harewood's a better footballer than a golfer. We've seen firsthand his golfing skills, and they're decent. Jay, thanks for joining us this evening, lads. What are we making of this Phillips deal? Not sure if any more will come in. Might get a forward in the summer. We're going to talk a little bit more about the recent events in just a moment, but we'll just touch on it because Jay has mentioned it. Jordan, what are your thoughts on this Kalvin Phillips deal? I think it fills a hole when Alvarez isn't there because of how poor we look without Alvarez.
I think the signing's good. I'm not really a massive fan of loan deals, if I'm honest, especially with the way it could impact the title race. And obviously, he won't be eligible to play. Who I think we've got City last game of the season, if I'm correct, if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
So take the loan deal out of it. It's a good signing for us. I am happy with Alvarez, but it's good to see the calibre of player that we're attracting to the club. It's a good deal all round. I think it's good for City. It's good for Phillips because he hasn't played any football. And I have been one of those people who's like, how does he get in the England squad ahead of, Ward-Prowse and players like that? So it'd be a good chance for him to prove himself. So I just don't want another Jesse Lingard where he's good for, 6 months and then he, bins off somewhere else. So
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Fatty says, we missed out that night. We did. Really unfortunate to be at that Seville game because, just everything about it, from turning it around in the first leg to the Yarmolenko story was just, you can't write scripts, but it felt like a script was wrote for that on that brilliant evening at the Bowl. Jay says, it's a shame Moyes never got Phillips to partner Rice back in the day. Exactly. Everyone from all sides of it has been vocal about how Moyes and West Ham displayed interest in Phillips a couple of years ago, and if City wouldn't have got him, I think we would have done, and that pairing would have been something. That is for sure. Right, next up, is it going to be your first game or is it a different one? What's your favourite game you've attended as a West Ham fan?
Well, obviously, some people have mentioned in the comments I was at that Sevilla game.
Yeah.
So I'm going to have to go with that game, but I do want to mention the last game I ever went to at the Bowling Ground was the FA Cup replay against Liverpool, and Ogbonna scored the winner in that game. So that was a close second, but the Sevilla game, and given the context of the game, the European run we had, and that they'd never been knocked out by an English side. Since we've been at the Olympic Stadium, it did remind me of being back at Upton Park, that atmosphere. So I'll have to say the Sevilla game was the best game I've been to.
Absolutely. Oh yeah, for sure. Right, the next question I'm gonna let you ponder over for a while because it's because I think it's quite a difficult one and it's gonna make you rack your brain. Right, so I want two answers: the best and the worst player you've seen in a West Ham shirt. The best one I'm sure you could think of quite easily, but who is the worst player as well alongside that you've seen in a West Ham shirt? Is anybody shouting out at you straight away for best or worst?
Both. For best, you can't say. For me, it's Payet. It's got to be Dimitri Payet, or that I've seen in the West Ham shirt personally. I know people will go back, might go to Kanye or something like that, or some people might go Declan Rice. But for me, forget how he left the club. It's got to be for pure entertainment skill. It's got to be Payet for me. Worst. Either Lewis Boumorte or Modibo Maiga got to be some of the worst players I've ever seen in a West Ham shirt. But I'd have to say it's probably Boumorte. He was one of the worst players we ever had. So I wasn't really a fan of his. Just racking my brains. They come to mind straight away, to be fair.
To be fair, up until 9 days ago, Danny Ings came into my mind, but his renaissance against Sheffield United has put him slightly higher up in my estimations now.
I think he's obviously past his best days, and he doesn't fit into our style of play. So I cut him a little bit of slack. But yeah, Danny Ings hasn't been great, let's be honest. But I would say Bowen Morley was a lot worse than Danny Ings, if I'm perfectly honest.
I want all of you watching to put into the chat. Let's be interactive. Your best and worst West Ham player you've seen in the West Ham shirt. There we go. Dix, Roberto. Who could forget Roberto?
Oh God, yeah, terrible.
I like that. Yeah, so Dad hasn't seen these questions either, so I've curated them, and he's put that up on the spot. I like it. Dix and Roberto, Julian Dix, of course, and Roberto. that was an interesting period of the football club, wasn't it?
Just a bit. I mean, obviously that was, I think, my second or third season as a season ticket holder, and we actually started that season quite well. I think going into the first international break, we were almost in the top four, and then we lost at home to Palace, and then Fabianski got injured, and then we got into a relegation fight after that.
Fabianski got injured, and it all went down like that, and it reverted to we've got a chance. Martin's in goal, Southampton away, Chelsea away.
Yes, I was there at that. Yeah.
2019, honestly, oh my lord, it was an interesting time. Roberto 100% the worst, so Fathead is in agreement. Decano the best, Simone Zaza worst though, although Maiga wasn't flash. I mean, there's quite a few in that period, isn't there? Jonathan Kellery, Simone Zaza, that sort of newly at the London Stadium sort of era. There's a couple of other ones as well that we sort of signed and.
Yeah. Gokhan Toure was not a very good player.
That's it, Toure. Yeah, Gokhan
Toure.
Yeah.
Some of those players Bilic brought in when we moved to the Olympic Stadium were a bit questionable, to say the least.
Yeah. It's just that shirt we had where it was the badge and it said Queen Elizabeth Olympic Park 2016-17, and that shirt just reminds me of like that whole series of players, Zaza, Toure, and all of them, honestly.
So we got Arbeloa as well, right?
Arbeloa,
that's shocking. He was, to be fair, he was way past it.
Roberto worse than McKnight. Alan McKnight, I've met him actually. I never watched him kick a ball or try and save a ball, but I met him at the DT38 Golf Day last year. I can confirm he was a really nice chap, but
hopefully he's not watching tonight.
Hopefully not. Rice the best for me says Fathead Meadows got to be up there. Benny McCarthy. What was his name in the caravan? Marco Boogers. He's got to be up there as well. I never watched these players, but just from what other people said.
Yeah.
Benny McCarthy, Marco Boogers. Oh dear.
That's one thing we have been blessed with is panic buys, and the striker situation has been very precarious, to say the least, at West Ham ever since I can remember, since the two Davids took over. So I think there's a lot to pick from. But I just remember going to one game. I think it was like an FA Cup game against Barnsley, mid 2000s, and Bowen Morley got subbed off, and I've only ever seen it where everybody was cheering that he was coming off. Not in, well played. It was just they were happy to see him taken off. So I think that's why it always stands out to me. He would be one of the worst players for West Ham.
Yeah. Mike's put his input in, and Mike has got the pleasure of being one of our more experienced members of our community. So he's got the pick of the bunch, really, haven't you, Mike? Difficult for the best player for me between Brooking, Bonds, Moore, and Devonshire. So you ain't got many. You ain't got many to choose from, Mike, have you? That's a pretty good top four, Mike. I'll give you that. You've seen some good ones, that is for sure. So there we go. Let's fast forward to the present day. Let's talk about this season a bit. Of course, we hinted on Calvin Phillips there, but this season it's ebbed and flowed, Jordan. I think it's fair to say. The start was very good, then we had a bit of a drop down, then we beat Spurs and Arsenal and Manchester United in December, then we lost all our players to AFCON and it went downhill a little bit more. It's been interesting, hasn't it?
It's been a whirlwind, but it's West Ham. I suppose we've got to get used to it. We're notoriously known for turning up against your Spurses and your Arsenals and your Man Uniteds, and then we're dropping points to, Sheffield United. I know it was a very dodgy decision that happened, but it's just like we seem to be running well again, and then the AFCON comes, and then we've had a few injuries. We dumped out the FA Cup by Bristol City, so obviously if we can get players back fit, see who we get in potentially before the end of the window. I think hopefully we'll have a good run into the season and can secure European football again.
No, that would be good. That would be good, absolutely. Just when I was thinking about that, away days came to mind. Favourite away day?
Okay, let me have a think about this. Favourite away. I've been to quite a few away games.
I'll let you think about that. I'll take some more comments. Oh God, forgot about Mido. Yeah, Mido and also Lee Chapman. That's not one I've heard of. That's one that's passed me by. I'm not entirely sure. Darren says we only lost 2 players to AFCON. We did, but also Kudus has been incredibly influential in what we've done. So I mean, it was obvious the massive impact that had, and hopefully he's going to be back for Thursday, and we can get back on track in a good fashion. Benny McCarthy is still planted 2 yards offside at the old ground. Have you thought of a favourite away day, Jordan?
I've got loads, but I'm gonna have to. For the sheer value for money, it was 12 quid to go and watch West Ham play Blackburn away in the FA Cup. And we took up 7,000 fans and we smashed them 5-1. And atmosphere-wise, it was amazing. So, and obviously the result was good as well. I've had quite a few good away games, but that was for sheer value for money to go all the way up to Blackburn and take 7,000 fans and smash them 5-1. That was a pretty good game to be at as an away fan.
Yeah, certainly. Sounds good. I mean, in the last couple of years, that Newcastle away game, just after COVID, that's one that sticks out for me in sort of recent times when we went up there and did them 4-2 as the first game with fans back after COVID. Forest away was good for the atmosphere of it. Gutted that we missed Spurs and Arsenal away in the last few weeks because they looked absolutely brilliant. Leicester away at the end of last year, that had some entertainment value to go alongside it. As well, Brighton away at the start of this season was very good as well to finally break the hoodoo and beat them. Yeah, we've had some good and bad ones along the way as well. That is for sure. Of course, with just a couple of days left of the January transfer window, we talked about Phillips, but do you think that we will be making any further additions in the coming hours?
I think it's dependent on outgoings, if I'm honest. So I think obviously we're hearing rumours that Benrahma's could be going to Lyon and Fornals, who will be on his way out. So provided that they make an exit, I'm sure we've got players lined up to come in. But I think thinking one window ahead, I think the summer coming is going to be critical for West Ham in terms of, is David Moyes going to be there? Is he not going to be there? And are we going to get European football? So obviously we're forward thinking, but yeah, just for this window, I think we will be busy on deadline day. But I think it's dependent on outgoings personally.
Yeah, no, fair enough. Yeah, I mean, I think we aren't going to go out and just buy a random right back or something with the remaining time. If we're going to buy anyone, it's going to be to replace either Benrahma or Fornals or whoever else may exit in the next couple of days. But yeah, I don't know. I'm inclined to agree that it's dependent on the outgoings that we could or couldn't see.
I was just talking about right backs. I saw we were linked with Chalobah, I think, because obviously Carey's departed. Yeah. So yeah, we are linked with him. Would he be a good player? I think he's not played much football this season like Phillips. Has he got a point to prove? If we get him in, it might be a good signing for us just to bolster the back four a little bit as well.
Yeah, I saw that on Sky a couple of days ago. Yeah, we displayed our interest in Trevor Chalobah. I think right back is an area that we'll revisit in the summer. I don't think it's a priority in January, but I think it is an area we will revisit because Soufal, Johnson. I think we will have to bring in somebody in that position in the summer. But yeah, in terms of the here and now in January, then if we're going to buy anyone, it's going to be to replace somebody, I think. So yeah, I still think something will happen. I think one or if not both of Benrahma and Fornals will leave. But I think we're just stalling on that just to ensure that we actually get a replacement in because there's question marks over the Osman and the Jota that we've been linked with and the sort of issues that we're having with getting those deals over the line. So I think there'll be some quite late nights for Stein, Noble, Moyes and Sullivan and whoever else is involved in probably getting these deals over the line because I don't think we're going to be completely silent over the next we've got left 48 hours or so left of the window. So overall, of course, it's dependent on, I think, how we push on now when we get all of our players back. But where would you like to see us finishing come the end of the season?
To be honest, I think top 6 we should be aiming for. we're there already, and we're going to be getting into the business end of the season. And like you said, if we can bolster the squad and bring in better players than we've already got, there's no reason why we shouldn't be finishing top 6 this year and seeing how far we can go in the Europa League. I wouldn't be happy with. I mean, finishing top 10 is great, but given where we're sat right now, we should be finishing 6th in the league, in my opinion, especially with that front three we got.
Yeah. No, I think the dilemma just with the transfers people are talking about in the chat, Darren here says there's no way we can afford to let Benny Fornals and Cornet go and leave without anyone coming in, and I think that's a fair reflection of it, because I mean we can't let all of them go alongside Kara and whoever else without bringing somebody in. I mean we've got to. Cornet's been linked to Forest, of course, Benrahma, Leon, Fornals, Real Betis that we seem to exit early is all but done. So we feel like, they need to get their backsides in gear just in terms of that transfer front to get something done. Andy's favourite win, Everton away, 2016, 3-2, West Ham Payet winner on the 90th minute. I like
Great
it.
game, that was.
Yeah. Darren says, what's Tim been doing since the summer that what's Tim been doing since the summer, that we were in this state again with the ins and outs on the last day? Yeah, it seems like a bit of organised chaos to me, Jordan, because we haven't really done a lot. And then we bought in Phillips, and then all of a sudden all these players are leaving and we don't really seem to have a devised plan to bring anyone in to replace them.
I think the January transfer has always been, in my opinion, the worst time to buy players because they go for such a premium. Given where teams are mid-season, and sometimes teams haven't got that time to plan to bring somebody else in. So I think whether it's deliberately left till the last minute to try and get a better price, who knows? I don't know how the market works, but I've never been really a massive fan of the January transfer window. It's not the best time to buy players. You need some time and strategy to think about who we're going to have going forward. So yeah, has it been spontaneous or has it been based upon injuries and obviously with players potentially leaving? Who knows? I think I've got faith in Steindl long term to get us some good players. I mean, I think generally for the last couple of years the recruitment's been right. So it's going to be a busy day for us either way. But it's not ideal leaving it to the last minute when you've got your season to think ahead for the business end, where you're going to finish and European run, things like that.
It always is, definitely. Just to divert away from West Ham slightly, there is some Premier League football going on tonight, actually. And Brighton are playing Luton. They're 3 minutes in, and it's 2-0 to Luton inside 3 minutes, which is incredibly bizarre, to be honest with you. I'm not quite, I'm lost for words. They scored on the 2nd minute through Adebayo. And then a minute later, less than 60 seconds later, they scored again to double their lead. So Brighton are in a spot of bother against relegation battling Luton, which I mean is quite good for us because Brighton were breathing down our necks. And they're 2-0 down inside 3 minutes. Football's a funny old game. It's a funny old game. What about that defender? Yeah, I think it was Sky Sports reported we got just a vague interest. That's all it was in Trevor Chalobah. I haven't really heard anything else of it. So I can't see anything dramatic happening unless one of our right backs pulls up in the next day, to be honest with you. Darren says, it's a mess that we have been talking to the wrong agent for Osman and the tax situation on Jota. I don't want Jota. As I said, Jordan, it seems like organised chaos. With Osman, we've been speaking to a different agent that's got nothing to do with him, and there's some agent issue there. And then because Jota's in the Saudi league, there's some tax issue there. But then Jordan Henderson managed to get over from Saudi to Ajax quite swiftly. So just seems like we are building up to we tried at the end of the transfer window with these just bizarre issues that are arising.
Whether it's mainly incomings, it's never easy with West Ham. We either panic by strikers or you get Tevez and Mascherano kind of deals, and there's always a bit of something shady behind it. It's West Ham never fail to entertain with their transfer activity, whether we've got players going out or coming in. But it's a bit of I don't know the details obviously with the Osman and the situation with Jota, but if that's come out, it is a bit of a joke, if I'm honest. That we're entertaining deals, and if we can't get these players over the line, like you said, with 2 days to go, that's got West Ham written all over it, to be fair.
Yeah, it's the West Ham way, isn't it? Lawrence, thank you very much indeed for joining us. I hope you are well. Right, moving on then. So Well, we don't know what situation we're going to be in come Thursday at a minute past 11 when that deadline slams shut. But at the moment, hopefully without an injury crisis, which would cripple us at the moment, where do you want us and where do you see us finishing come the end of May and in Europe as well?
So where I want and seeing us finishing, I'm going to back it and say top 6. I think we're going to get top 6 this season. I don't like settling for this mediocrity. If West Ham want to go some places, we've got to be a bit more ambitious. So we're sat 6th currently in the league. I ain't worried about teams like Man United, especially with the crisis that they got going on with, the conduct of their players. And so obviously
Rashford's been on a Belfast bender and lied about it.
So I think top 6. I would think we're capable, more than capable of getting. We've got the players for it. European campaign, I can see us at least, getting to the quarters, possibly semis. I think. Obviously, there's going to be slightly different competition in there this year compared to when we were in this position last time in the Europa League. But I always are very optimistic with the European campaign, with how good we are in Europe. There's no reason, in my opinion, why we can't get all the way to the final with the way we've been playing in Europe. So, but I think at least we'll make quarters, semis at least, and then it's anybody's game from there.
It certainly is. I like the confidence. And then, of course, when we look ahead to the summer, there's going to be clubs sniffing around our players that have performed well. That's, a sign, that's a good sign. But then again, we've got to be tactical in the way we did it. We had one high-profile departure from the club last summer. Do you think we could be able to hold on to Bowen, Kudus and Paqueta in the summer?
I think a lot of it will dictate on who the manager is next season, I think, because... it's not been confirmed Moyes has signed a new deal, unless I haven't seen anything come out. Obviously, I think it's likely he'll get offered a new contract. But I think, we'll be more than capable of attracting better players in and keeping hold of our players. We spent the Rice money wisely. If we finish the season strong, we finish top 6 and we have a good run in Europe, there's no reason why we can't keep hold of our players. At least for another year or two. I think if we're going to lose anybody, it might be Paqueta, and they might be using Phillips as part of part of the deal potentially. But aside from Paqueta going, I don't really see any of the other big players leaving West Ham.
Yeah, I think Paqueta is the main one. I'm hoping Kudus will stay, and I'm pretty confident Bowen will stay, especially after committing his future in that contract that he signed last year. So. Yeah, I think Paqueta is the main concern, then probably Kudus the secondary concern, and I don't think there's too much concern about Bowen. But well, you never know, do you? If big clubs come calling, then we're going to struggle to say no at a high fee. Lawrence says, I am praying for top 6, still worrying about the depth if we don't sign anyone else. Absolutely. WH Max says, Breaking Benny going out on loan now with options. Honestly, I don't know what's going on. And I don't think anybody knows what's going on, to be honest with you. I was about to say it's organised chaos. It's not organised. It's just chaos. I don't think anybody's got 100% idea of what's going on and what the complications are on any of these deals. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens. Lawrence says, I would love 6 points, but would take 4 points in the next few matches. Yeah, Bournemouth and Manchester United, 4 points, I think, is a good return from those two, I think.
Definitely. There's no reason why we shouldn't be beating Bournemouth at home. And Man United away, it's not a place we do that well in the league, especially in recent years. So, would I take a point at Old Trafford? 100%. That's 4 points off Man United this season, so I'll be happy with that.
Yeah. There we go. Again, of course, there's been talks today of Steiden being sniffed around by Liverpool, which would not be good. We want to keep hold of him as we can. We are worrying about our players being kept hold of. We want to worry about our sporting director or technical director, whatever he's called. We want to keep hold of him as well, because he's the reason we've got all these deals over the line. And he's the reason that we've got all these brilliant players at the club, and we want to keep them, and we want to keep him there as well. Jay says, I think we will really struggle keeping on a Paqueta, unfortunately. I'm inclined to agree with that one. And the final question regards, good old David Moyes. Do you think he'll be in the dugout at the start of next season? Would you like him to be in the dugout at the start of next season?
Oh, God, what a question. Do I think he will be? Do I think he will be? I do, yeah, I'll be honest. I think I think from an owner's perspective, bar last season and abysmal, we were take the Conference League out of it. We've been relatively stable in the league. He's saved us from relegation twice. So I think, from that regard, from his results speak for themselves. Do I like his style of football? No, I don't. It's a very pragmatic, one-dimensional approach. And as a fan, it's not entertaining to watch in the slightest. So it's a difficult question. It's like a double-edged sword answering that question. I feel an element of safety with Moyes in charge. But I think if West Ham want to be ambitious and go to bigger and better things, if they want to, like we've been promised since we moved to this stadium, is he the man to do it for us? I don't think so, but that's just my opinion. It's more of a style of play issue with Moyes. I think if Moyes was just a little bit more attacking in certain games and a little bit more adaptable with his tactics and substitutions, I might be having a slightly different opinion. So I'm not completely slating him, but I'm not really a fan of his style of football, if I'm honest. It's very difficult to watch at times.
Yeah, I think that's a fair and balanced approach on it. I mean, I don't think we can complain and grumble too much when we're sat at 6th, but then other clubs and things, when people go on TalkSport, it's what makes me laugh when West Ham fans go on TalkSport and say I want Moyes to go, which isn't a wild suggestion inside the West Ham fan base, and you get O'Hara and Cundy and Goldstein and whoever else go, what? You're 6th, you won the conference, you can't do this, you can't do that, you're entitled, you're this, you're that. But they don't have to watch the football every week. It's going to be a decisive summer, as it always is with West Ham. Jordan, thank you very much indeed for joining me. Any final words?
I'm on your irons, and let's keep this European adventure going, and let's make it 4 years in a row. That's probably what I'm going to say.
Yeah, so, let's hope so. That'll be good.
Let's make it 4 years in a row.
That will be good. Yeah, Jordan, thank you very much for joining me there. Coming up tonight, it's been a busy day. There's a couple of transfer shows on the channel for you to go and watch as well, keeping you updated on all of the goings on there. And then in less than an hour's time, 9 o'clock, I've got my opposition preview coming out, looking ahead to the game against Bournemouth. Tom, the Bournemouth fan, join me for that. So make sure you check that out at 9 o'clock for an insight into our opponents on Thursday, AFC Bournemouth. So check out all the content on the channel. We'll have our main preview for the Bournemouth game on Wednesday, build-up show Thursday. Then Friday, we're building up to Old Trafford. We're going to Old Trafford on Sunday. Yeah, it's Sunday, isn't it? Yeah, Sunday. So there'll be a vlog for that. So plenty of content to look forward to. Thank you very much indeed, everybody, for watching and getting involved in the chat. And Jordan, one last time, thank you very much. There's only one thing left to say. Come on, you Irons.
Come on, you Irons.
And we'll see you soon right here on West Ham Official. Thank you very much. See you at 9 o'clock. Oppo preview. Don't miss it. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye. Cheers, Jordan. Thank you very much.